Hey guys, welcome back to Wentworth Life, the YouTube channel that talks all things Wentworth. If you're new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button right now for all future updates. So first things first, Happy New Year guys, how are you all? Did you have a nice Christmas and a New Year? For me, it was really busy all the way up to Christmas Day, and then me and Peter pretty much just chilled after that and had a pretty much deserved rest. But let me know what you guys did over Christmas in the comments box below. Okay, so I am back today with Wentworth Life's first 2022 new video, and in today's video we are going to be looking at the top 10 death scenes that happened in Wentworth. So we are starting off with a little bit of a morbid one today. Now, there were a lot of death scenes in Wentworth over the 9 seasons, and quite a few of them are really heartbreaking and disturbing. Now, if you are late to the Wentworth party and you haven't seen all of the seasons yet, then this is your warning that this video will contain some huge major spoilers. So proceed with caution if you're not up to date with Wentworth. Okay guys, let's jump straight in. Number 10, Jessica Warner. Jess arrived in Season 2, Episode 4, and from her very first episode, I think we all knew something wasn't quite right with her. We learned that Jess had a previous conviction that did get overturned, and this conviction was the death of a child. At one point, we saw Jess crying in the library over a book of children and babies, and in another scene, Jess was trying to get herself pregnant when she slept with Mr. Fletcher in the shower block. It actually really creeps me out thinking that she wanted to have her own baby only to do undespicable things to it. Anyway, by season 3, Jess was being very odd. She ended up kidnapping Doreen's baby Joshua and taking him to a secluded part of the prison where she tried to smother him to death. I can remember when I first saw this scene, I think I literally held my own breath for that whole moment. But then in walks Joan Ferguson, who catches Jess red-handed. Joan then orders Jess to put the baby down while Joan is putting on her black leather gloves. And when Jess does put Joshua down, Joan grabs Jess by the throat and literally just lifts her up off the floor and strangles her to death. It was a pretty surreal moment, and it did make me realize that Joan is one hell of a strong woman. Joan then proceeds to throw Jess onto the floor, and then she decides to cover Jess's body with cardboard and sets fire to her in order to get rid of any evidence. Number 9, Mari Winter. When Mari Winter arrived at Wentworth back in Season 6, we all knew she was going to be trouble, starting the show off as a proper villain before going on a full redemption storyline for the final 2 seasons. Mari ended up falling victim to Lou Kelly. In a very intense scene in the pre-final episode, Mari followed Ruby to a secluded part of the prison where Ruby was attacked by Lou Kelly's crew. Mari then ended up grabbing a plank of wood, and she actually saved Ruby from the lynching, and Mari told Ruby to run. Mari then continues to wave this plank of wood at the women until Lou Kelly grabs the plank of wood and throws it out of Mari's hand. Lou then grabs Mari armed with a huge knife and looks at Mari dead in the eyes, telling Mari that this one is for Reb. Lou then stabs Mari right in the body, pushing harder and harder, making sure that Mari is not gonna survive this stabbing. Lou eventually pulls the knife out, and Mari is left to bleed out onto the floor alone, where she tragically dies. Number 8, Debbie Smith. Okay, so fans of both Wentworth and Prisoner Cell Block H will know that in Prisoner, Debbie had been killed due to a drugs overdose. Now, this happened in Prisoner as a backstory for the original B. Smith, so Debbie was already dead when Prisoner started. So So when Wentworth began in 2013, the Wentworth version of Debbie was very much alive. I mean, this was a story about B. Smith entering prison for the first time. So I think fans of both shows knew that it was inevitable that Debbie was eventually going to meet an awful end. And how right we were. Debbie had started a relationship with Braden Holt, and his mother, Jacqueline Holt, had instructed Braden to get rid of Debbie once and for all. So in a heartbreaking yet disturbing scene, Braden injected Debbie with a lethal dose of heroin. Once Debbie was out of it and pretty much laying on the bed and being sick all over herself, Braden just ended up packing up his bag and left Debbie in her bedroom alone to die. Number 7, Jacqueline Holt. Jumping off from our previous entry, after the death of Debbie, it wasn't long before B found out that Braden was Jax's son. B put 2 and 2 together, but it wasn't until the very final moments of season 1 where B confronted Jax alone in her cell, and B wanted Jax to admit it to her face. So when Jax started tormenting B with disgusting comments about Debbie, B lost it as she ended up grabbing a pen and stabbing it right into Jax's neck. B then panics at what she's done and she ended up pulling the pen back out of the neck, and that just made things worse, and blood starts to squirt all out of Jax's neck and all over B. Jax then falls onto her bed with a big juicy smile on her face as she starts to die. And a shocked B. Smith walks away as she presses the panic button. It was a brilliant moment. Number 6, Sean Brody. Now, I'm sure we were all cheering when this one happened. So Officer Sean Brody arrived in Wentworth in season 7, and at first he seemed like an okay guy. But as the season went on, we learned that Sean was bad news, proper bad news. Sean took part in trying to break Mari Winter out of Wentworth, but unfortunately things went very wrong at the last minute when Mari wanted to get revenge on Ruby, and they were all caught by Vera. Things got very messy, and Sean took the women hostage where he shot and killed Costa and Boomer's mum, May Jenkins. In the season 7 final, Ali managed to grab a gun where she ended up shooting Mari in the leg. She then turned around to Sean and proceeded to shoot him in the head. It was amazing and quite gruesome, like pretty much Sean's brain splattered on the door behind him. It was quite amazing. And it was thanks to Ali that the siege finally came to an end, and Ali then went on to become Wentworth's newest top dog. Number 5, SHEILA BAUSCH. A very disturbing moment in our next entry. SHEILA BAUSCH arrived in Season 8 Part 1, and we quickly learned that SHEILA was part of the brainwashing cult called the True Paths, the same place that Reb and Lou were both in. SHEILA was hoping that Reb Keen was going to give her an alibi and SHEILA was going to get all of her charges dropped. But in the end, Reb basically told SHEILA to F off, and SHEILA was looking at life in prison. With nothing left to live for, SHEILA decided to punish Lou Kelly by taking away the one true love in her life, and that was Reb Keen. SHEILA murdered Reb right at the start of Season 8 Part 2, and by Episode 2, Lou wanted revenge. In a disturbing scene, Lou forced SHEILA to drink some poison, which ended up with SHEILA on the floor, convulsing and shaking, and basically having a very slow and painful death, with Lou Kelly just sitting there watching it all. Mari finds Lou and SHEILA, and Mari decides that she cannot watch SHEILA in this much pain. So Mari grabs a mop and places it over SHEILA's throat. Lou then gets up and helps Mari, and they both press down until SHEILA is dead. This is probably one of the most brutal death scenes in Wentworth, and it's definitely a moment that none of us have forgotten. Number 4, Sonia Stevens. Sonia Stevens arrived in Wentworth in season 4 and she was a woman of mystery. Did Sonia kill her best friend Helen or not? Well, as seasons went on, we learned that Sonia was in the same psychopath club as Joan Ferguson, and Sonia spent a lot of her time tormenting and mentally torturing Liz. In season 6, Sonia murdered Sharon Gilmore in the showers, who she thought was Liz, and later on in the season the truth was unraveling and top dog CRAIGz Proctor told Sonia that she was gonna stick her on trial with the women. Meanwhile, poor Liz had been diagnosed with dementia, and Liz thought that she saw Don Kaplan in the prison and she ended up on the prison roof looking for him. Sonia had murder in mind and she wanted Liz dead. So Sonia followed Liz up onto the roof and grabbed herself a weapon. She then proceeded to try and smash poor Liz's head in. The pair of them end up in a huge struggle on the roof, but then CRAIGz arrives and she pushes Sonia off Liz. At this stage, Sonia looks like a demented demon, and she's telling CRAIGz that she can't protect Liz forever. So CRAIGz ends up running at Sonia and pushing Sonia off the roof, resulting in Sonia dying instantly. It's a classic moment from season 6, and there's also the moment where CRAIGz decided that she will do pretty much anything to protect her friends and the women. Number 3, CRAIGz Proctor. A very sad moment now in our next spot. In fact, these final 3 are gonna really hit you in the feels. So in season 7, CRAIGz, she ended up trying to blow up Mari Winter, as you do, because their feud boiled over. Mari ended up surviving and CRAIGz was forced to have a few sessions with Dr. Miller. At the same time, Mari was holding a big secret. Mari had someone high up in the government protecting her, and CRAIGz discovered who it was. Just as CRAIGz was about to go and tell Ali, CRAIGz had to go to one of his sessions with Dr. Miller. It was at this point where CRAIGz realised the sort of person who she wanted to be going forward. And as CRAIGz is walking back to the women down the corridor, all of a sudden a hooded figure fatally slashes CRAIGz's throat. It's a shocking scene that really catches you off guard. CRAIGz is alone in this corridor and she's holding her throat, but it's too late. Blood is literally gushing out, so CRAIGz tries to write a message on the floor using her finger and her blood, but she passes away before she has a chance to finish, leaving CRAIGz dead on a dirty floor in a corridor alone. It's absolutely heartbreaking. We later on discovered that the person who did kill CRAIGz was Officer Sean Brody. Number 2, B. Smith. One of the most shocking deaths now in our next spot, B. Smith. B was the show's main character from the beginning, so when B was tragically killed off at the end of season 4, it's safe to say that most of us were in total shock. It all came down to a final showdown between B and Joan Ferguson. B had somehow convinced Vera to let her out into no man's land so B could confront Joan and record her on a mobile phone. However, B had other plans when she was alone with Joan. B was armed with a screwdriver and was going to kill Joan once and for all. However, during a struggle, Joan overpowered B and took the screwdriver off her. While Joan had the screwdriver in her hand, B took this opportunity to run at Joan, grabbing Joan's arms and stabbing herself, making it look like that Joan had actually stabbed her. B then continued to stab herself over and over again while the weapon was in Joan's hand. Then, all of a sudden, Joan actually loses it for a moment, and Joan actually continues to stab B willingly, asking B if she wants it. Joan doesn't stop stabbing B until B whispers to Joan, "I win." Joan then comes back to reality for a moment and B falls to the floor. Mr. Jackson and Vera arrive on the scene, but it's too late. B has literally been stabbed about a dozen times. So while B is laying on the floor, we see the seahorses in the sky, which of course is a high reference to B and Ali's love story, and B passes away in Mr. Jackson's arms. It really is one of the most tragic and cruelest moments of the whole show, and even to this day I struggle to watch this scene. Number 1, Liz Birdsworth. The only death scene that could top B. Smith's death is Lizzie Birdsworth. In the final episode of Season 7, Liz ended up having a stroke just after the siege had ended, and Liz ended up in the prison psych ward, where Dr. Miller told Boomer that Liz is suffering from something called locked-in syndrome, which basically means that Liz is fully aware of what's going on around her, but she cannot communicate in any shape or form. It's a horrible illness that I really wouldn't want to wish on anyone. Boomer goes into the ward to see Liz alone, and we are met with some emotional scenes of Boomer telling Liz that she wants to be just like her. Earlier on in the season, Liz had asked Boomer that one day she will need her help in taking her own life when things get too much, but Boomer always told Liz she would never be able to do it. However, when Boomer sees Liz in this condition, Boomer does a full U-turn and decides to help Liz. By this point, I'm already in bits, but Boomer then picks up a pillow and places it gently over Lizzie's face and tells her that she loves her over and over again. Boomer then presses down while she's crying, and when Liz's hand stops shaking, that's when Boomer realizes that Liz has gone. For me personally, I think this was literally one of the most saddest death scenes that I've ever witnessed on any TV show. Everything from the acting to the background music that they used. It really was an emotional roller coaster, and it definitely deserves to be at my number 1 spot. And that was the top 10 death scenes in Wentworth. So guys, what did you think of my list? Was there a death scene that you wished was on the list? Or do you think I got it just right? Let me know your thoughts in the comments box below. And on that note guys, it's now time for some comment replies. So we've got Terry Weir. Hi Craig, Happy New Year to you and Peter. New prison drama starting next Thursday night at 9 PM on Channel 4. It's called Screw. Definitely worth checking out. I'll be watching it. It's set in a male prison. Well, first things first, Terry, Happy New Year to you too. I hope you had a lovely Christmas and New Year. And yes, I actually watched the first 2 episodes of this new prison drama last night, and I'm telling you now, I'm already hooked. I think I'm gonna end up binge watching the rest of the season this weekend. And guys, if you haven't watched it yet or heard of this show, it's called Screw and it's on Channel 4 in the UK. If you don't live in the UK, I'm pretty sure there's links out there where you can probably find it. It's worth checking out, guys. Thank you for your commentary. Liz Brown. Hello, happy holidays, Craig and Peter. Maggie Kirkpatrick is coming up soon on Talking Prisoner. I enjoy these interviews a lot. So far, I've seen Val's and Maggie Miller's. Well, hello there, Liz. Happy holidays to you too. I hope you had a good one. And yes, I have been watching these Talking Prisoner interviews. I'm really enjoying them. I haven't watched all of them, but I've definitely watched the one with the big main characters. And I had no idea that Maggie Kirkpatrick, the original Joan Ferguson, is going to be featuring in an interview soon. So I'm really looking forward to that. So yes, guys, any Prisoner Cell Block H fans out there, go onto YouTube and search for Talking Prisoner, and you will see some amazing interviews from the cast. It's definitely worth a watch. Thank you for your comment, Liz. Jessica Crosby. Hi Craig. Who are your top 3 favourite characters from Wentworth and why? Also your 3 least favourite. Okay, Jessica. My top 3 favourites. Well, it's gonna be Boomer, Rita. Oh god, who can be my third? It's probably going to be B. However, at a close call, I would also say Maxine and possibly Vera. Yeah, there's loads. Anyway, my least favorite, number 1 is Judy Bryant. I'm also gonna say maybe Jacqueline Holt and maybe Sean Brody, because all 3 of them I just did not like. Anyway, Jessica, I hope that answers your question. Thank you for your comment. And we have Ross Merchant. You are phenomenal. You really hit the nail on the head with this video. Huge original Prisoner fan and didn't match most of the character stories together, but you helped me with this. Thank you for the hard work. It really is appreciated, Ross. Oh, thank you, Ross. Thank you for that lovely comment. I'm glad that you're enjoying this show. Thank you for your comment and stay safe. And thank thank you all for your amazing comments. Some of you have been so kind wishing me and Peter Merry Christmas over the last few weeks, and none of your comments have gone unnoticed, so thank you to everyone. Keep those comments coming, and maybe next time one of your comments will be in my next video. Okay guys, well thank you all for watching. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, stay safe, and I will see you again very soon.